Yeah, an important victory for Pep Guardiola's side. We were just saying, weren't we, at the end of the game, that it feels like the City of old. They still don't have Rodri back, but once they plonk him in the middle of that midfield, they should be less out of sorts than how they were last season.
Yeah, of course. A player of Rodri's stature and his importance to the squad, I'm sure it's only going to benefit the team. But they didn't miss him tonight. They were very professional in how they went about their jobs. Like I said before the game, Nico Gonzalez played exceptionally well on the weekend. Unfortunately, went off tonight. But when you have a squad as strong as that, you can bring on players like Kovacic, who's won this competition 4 times himself.
But it's funny because they had those players last season. But again, as you know, we were saying, football is such a game of confidence that when things aren't going so well, you can bring on every good player that you want. And it just, last season it just didn't click. Whereas this season, everyone seems to be much more at home with the way that they're playing and what their tasks are on the pitch. Yeah,
I think it probably surprised them how the issues all kind of came to head at one point. This team was so successful and done so well. And then it's really hard to break it up because you're loyal to the players. And I think, clubs do that, but, Kevin De Bruyne looked a little bit older, didn't he? And Gundogan looked a little bit older, and then you're missing Rodri, and Bernardo Silva didn't have his best season, Phil Foden didn't have his best season. And I just think it all kind of came together, and then teams started to have confidence going against them, whereas this season they feel different, they feel more stable, they have a little bit more athleticism in the team, which I think, when Reinders, I think especially, gives them something. Aït-Nouri is a little bit different, Guardiola can play as a centre-back, so I just like the look of the team. They just feel, they feel different this season, and they played different tonight. Joleon made a good point, it was super professional performance, away from home with some really good players at Villarreal, but they made it look good.
Yeah, and when you have a striker up front, I mean, we can't stop waxing lyrical about him, and we're not going to either. For Erling Haaland, it's now 12 goals in a row for club and country. He's scored 15 goals in 11 for Manchester City so far this season.
Yeah, the whole goal, the whole play, they got it out wide to Savinho, who's outstanding all night as well. Rico loose, inside run, and then the timing of the cutback, and then the timing of the run from Haaland. It's something that they definitely have worked on in training, and it just come to head at the top of the pitch. And said when they get it right, they can put teams to the sword. It's just, as we said about before the game, it's just keeping the back door closed as well. Is
there something different about Erling Haaland this season, do you think? I mean, last season and the previous seasons, he would have had a really good sort of link-up with Phil Foden, for example. Kevin De Bruyne, real provider of goals as well. This season, it feels as though he's having to do a lot more, but his output is just as strong, if not more.
That graphic just up there, that looked crazy. Didn't look real. I mean, the numbers that he's... we know he's always scored goals, but obviously, the team, struggled and had some issues that season, but look at those numbers. I mean, he's got 24 goals in October. What is going on?
What I think they're doing different is they're rewarding his runs. I think he's always been consistent and strong, willing runner, but they haven't always seen it. And I think Kevin De Bruyne has been always the one that's looked for that. But now I think the other players are recognising he's going to make them runs. Can we get the ball into the right area?
Defensively, I feel like he's working a little bit harder this season. Perhaps we didn't see it as much in this game, but so far this season, his role has changed. He's actually a much more versatile player than a lot of people give him credit for.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think his overall game gets enough credit. Obviously, he's brilliant kind of running into space. We saw that at Dortmund, and I think we see that more this season. But actually, I think his overall game is actually really good. He's the perfect centre forward. Size, shape, finishing, he can head it, he can play with both feet. And I think Joleon made a good point about, obviously, De Bruyne was kind of the creator, whereas now we've seen Phil play that central position and do it beautifully. Cherki can do that. He's an amazing football player. Savinho's great on that side. Doku's, been one of their best players this season. So they have all these players that can help create goals for him, and I think they're all kind of finding ways to play him in because they all have different styles, and that's how great he is. He can time his runs to anyone.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's timing his run for recognising the scenario that Rico loses in. He can't get the ball in the air. It's going to be a cutback. So the run is across the front and on the floor. And then if it was someone else, they're standing up at the back stick and then he's jumping for an aerial header. So, again, his understanding his IQ is so important and so critical in the box.
And we were saying pre-match, weren't we, that Haaland's output this season, he's scoring something around 65% of all of Manchester City's goals. Heaven forbid, because we would not want it to happen. If they were to lose him for any amount of time, where would the other goals pop up? How would they change the play?
Who knows? And hopefully they don't have to figure that out. We don't want to see any player injured, obviously. But
and I don't mean injured. I mean just if he
missing
had to.
games.
You know what I mean?
Of course,
if he had to be taken out of the team.
But also we have to respect that Pep hasn't always had Haaland. Mancity hasn't always had Haaland. One of their most successful times was Gundogan up front. So they will find a way. Pep will find a solution if that happens.
Well, hopefully he won't have to find it for a while. Bernardo Silva got his first goal of the season today as well. And this was a nicely worked team goal against, going back to what you were saying, Joleon, about how they're moving the ball a lot quicker, a lot more slick as well.
He's such a brilliant player, Bernardo. So he's been one of my favourites since he's come over to this league. And last season, again, he was another one. He's a player you almost never see play poorly. And last season, he wasn't at his best either. And I think, obviously, him playing as a number 10, getting in the box, timing his run. It's not often, Joleon, you see him getting headers, do you? But
no.
He's just such a smart player.
One of the best. But like you said, it's a technique. He hasn't just got in there and just rose above anyone. You're not going to see that. But in terms of you give him an opportunity to showcase technique, and he's going to execute like that.
Yeah, absolutely. OK, well, let's get some reaction from the Manchester City camp. Then Rico Lewis has been speaking to Becky Ives.
Well, Rico, considering Villarreal hadn't lost at home since March, you seem to control it out there. Did it feel like you did?
Well, I didn't know that anyway before the game, but yeah, we felt in control for most of it. There's always better things that we can do, and we felt like they had a few spells that we could have, stopped them from having if we were a bit better on the ball at times. But we've got to be harsh on ourselves. We want to win the competition, and we look at the good things and the bad things. But we're happy with a clean sheet and the win.
Were you happy in the midfield role tonight, showing your versatility again?
Yeah, I'm always happy when I play there, and the manager knows that. So, yeah, really happy. I think it's where I affect the game the most. And when I'm playing football and I'm happy, there's no better feeling.
An assist tonight as well. I mean, are we running out of words to describe Erling Haaland with these finishes?
Yeah, it's impossible, isn't it? It's amazing. To play with him in the team, it helps more than you think. He draws so many defenders, which frees up other people. And then when them people are free, it frees himself up. So it's impossible to defend. So credit to him. He's such a hard worker, and he never stops wanting to score, and you can see that.
In the dressing room, does it feel like momentum is back? 9 unbeaten, you're getting players back. Is there a different mood in the dressing room?
Yeah, I think so. I think we've got our confidence back. I think that's the main thing. When you're playing with confidence, there's nothing that really can stop you but yourself. So everyone trusts each other as well. And you see the players we played today, everyone's got trust. We all want the ball, and there's nothing better than all of us having each other as well as ourselves on the pitch.
No, you just said that you want to win this competition. So the first away win in the Champions League for Man City in a year, just over a year, long overdue and part of the next step of this process?
I didn't know that either.
I'm telling you everything.
But yeah, the manager was saying, it's so important in this competition to get that away win early on, because, it relieves a bit of stress and puts us in good stead for the next games. But yeah, it's an important win. Home or away, we have to get the 3 points anyway.
Okay, thanks so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, he's definitely not a kid who keeps up with all the stats, and that's absolutely fine, because when you see what he does on the pitch, it more than makes up for it. Owen, midfielder to midfielder, how good is this kid?
Do you know what? He's only 20 years old. Do you know, it's remarkable, really. He's playing, he's a right back, plays central midfield, virtually play anywhere. And I think Pep always talks about how smart he is. His ability to take the ball virtually anywhere. He's just, for 20 years old, for him to have the experience that he has at this level, playing in one of the best teams in the world, and kind of fitting anywhere. And the boys pass it to him, Joleon.
Yeah, they trust him.
Anywhere, don't they? Which is the biggest thing you could make to him.
Yeah, his ability to receive the ball in any scenario and look comfortable, create opportunities. Is a testament. He's a sponge. He wants to learn. He wants to get better and improve. And he's not just in the team as a token gesture anymore. He's in there. He's given responsibility, and he demands a high standard from his teammates. So that's a credit to him.
Yeah. Pep, how would you describe that performance out there tonight by your side?
Really good. I know, a tough place to come. So it's a fantastic organisation and club, and we played really, really good. The second half, we made a positional game too deep, so we have to make a positional game in their half, and we didn't do that. But at the end, they have 1 or 2 chances. But in general, we play a fantastic game. We have to know how to have his opponent, and now it's a good step for us, for this tournament.
Erling Haaland doing what he does, but assisted tonight by Rico Lewis in that midfield role, reminding everybody of his versatility and how influential he can be there.
I'm pretty sure that 90% of the people, when they see Rico line up, I said, well, why is the reason why? And I love that player. This type of players, I adore them. Defensively, offensively, he's beyond intelligent, and he moves. And at teams like they make defensive zonal marking, like they make every movement. He knows, especially, he knows perfectly when and how and where has to move. I'm really pleased for his game.
Also, when you speak, your players listen. You said you wanted more goals from your wingers and your midfielder. Bernardo Silva tonight popping up with a header.
That's good. Not just Erling scored, that is nice, but no hard. And we have more chances for the other one. So, and the impact for Ryan Cherky when came in, and of course Kova and TG. So, and one at the end. So yeah, really good, because it's after a little disappointed in Monaco where we play at the same level like today and create chances we could not win today. In a tough place. Spanish league is so difficult, I know, from my experience. And Villarreal in the last, 23 times have been 70, 80 teams in Europe. So that means how good they are and how good the many things do. And the manager, Marcelino, is a top class manager. But we read really good the ball. We move positional game really good. And John playing a position that was the year of the treble in the middle. That helped us a lot. And yeah, really pleased.
Just the one maybe blot on the copy paper. Nico Gonzalez had to come off. Is that?
Yeah, knocking his feet, and yeah. Hopefully.
It's your first away win in the Champions League in a year. Is that really important for the next development of City in the Champions League this season?
It's in a year, because last season was not good, but I think our numbers in the Champions League in the last year is not bad enough, and I think personally now my numbers in Champions League are not bad enough, so are good. But last season was a difficult season for us. But I said 4 months ago, the vibe and the team, how it's behaving and playing, made me feel fine.
Pep, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's interesting to see him, because you never know what you're going to get from Pep. It depends on his mood, doesn't it? But he's very, very happy, of course, and rightly so with that. I do like what he said about Rico Lewis and players of that ilk. He just says, I adore them. They're great offensively, defensively. They kind of, it's almost like pointing towards the intelligence, the high IQ of these players who just know exactly where to be at the right time. Is that something that he can take credit for, that he coaches, or is this something that we see in the players that Manchester City seem to recruit?
I don't know. I think all the boys are great. That's why they get to this level. Do you know? And they are smart and they can play and they have all physical attributes. But I think having a guy like Pep who plants seeds in you to think about the game different, be in different positions, they're very privileged. I mean, Philip Lam was one of those guys who played as a right back, could play in centre mid, and then they see the game differently. And I think Pep loves also team players, humble players. And I think Rico is one of those. Philip Lam was one of those. And because it's difficult in the team environment, isn't it, Joleon, where everybody's like, not in it for themselves, but everybody wants to play. You need lads that you can kind of drop in at any point. And I think
understand their role.
Rico's one of those.
Yeah, but you also have to give Rico credit. He would have learnt this style, this philosophy throughout his career in the academy. So yes, Pep would have enhanced that, but the obviously development, the ability to adapt. He hasn't just got into the first team and started to play midfield. He would have learnt them roles and the responsibilities that come with them roles throughout his academy days. So I think it's a combination of everything.
Yeah, and he's in a great position now where he's getting a lot of players back, players who've been missing for a while. I mean, Savinho was out for about 3 games this season, but he was back now, and he was at the centre of absolutely everything, down that right-hand side.
Yeah, and to be fair play to him, there's a lot of talk about him, potentially even in the summer, but he's technically so good, Joleon, isn't he?
Yeah, he's an exceptional player when he plays like this, and like you said, there was speculation of him leaving. He's now signed a new contract, so he will feel more settled. And as a player, you want to feel settled, you want to feel loved and recognise your importance in the team. And like you said, he has the capabilities to go inside, go outside, run at you, run behind you, or wait a pass, as we've seen for the first goal. I think he's probably an all-round better winger than Doku, but just not as exciting and not as decisive, because he doesn't go past you every time, where he can do this and stand you up and then all of a sudden recognise there's a player free in the middle of the goal.
It was interesting as well that players have played there and interpreted the position different, Bernardo Silva and Phil Foden, but actually we see with Doku on the left and Savinho on the right, they're giving width again, which gives actually space to the boys on the pitch to work. And that's where Bernardo Silva's goal came from. But I just think these guys, you can pass on the ball anywhere. They're explosive in wide areas, which they haven't been, say, last season. I mean, that was a great save from the goalkeeper, but they feel like they got pace in wide areas again, Joleon.
Yeah.
I think Savinho and Doku, they kind of, you have to respect them, which gives Foden and Cherky and those boys in the middle of the park, Rodri, space to kind of run the game, which they're great at.
Yeah, and Becky asked Pep this question. He was demanding more from other players. We talked about the reliance on Haaland, and other players were able to, because of the pitch being a bit more stretched actually, and the wingers doing their job, that other players were able to pop up. And this is kind of more the City that we're used to seeing, isn't it?
Yeah, the width has always been key by the wide players, the two high wingers. So if they operate in them positions, it stretches out the team, the opposition, obviously. And even Rico Lewis touched on the importance and what the role Haaland has. He occupies defenders and frees up space, and we've seen that with the second goal. So I just feel they're finding a strong momentum now and understanding of how each other plays. And as I said, it was a slightly new transition in regards to personnel coming in, but they seem to be flourishing.
Yeah, they are, aren't they? Well, let's take a look at their next 6 fixtures that we can take a look at now. It is, you've got to say, but on paper, a tough run. They've got Villa at the weekend. They've got Liverpool, Newcastle in succession as well. They've got Dortmund. Some really, really big matches. Bournemouth as well.
Yeah, they're all big matches, obviously. But I think they're at a stage now and a confidence level where they'll go into them games favourites, and the opposition will recognise that. I think throughout the season last year, it was too many times where they weren't knowing, and it was kind of 50-50 and up in the air. Yeah,
you think Villa away, that can be a hard game. But again, even if they're not, I don't think they're at the controlling best side they were in the past. But that's why they got Donnarumma. You know, you have to beat that guy. He's massive. He's a brilliant shot stopper. So you look at all those games, and they're all tough games. But I don't think Pep will worry anymore, because I think now he's got a squad that he can rotate. But also, if they're not playing their best, with Haaland and Donnarumma, the spine of it is just so different, I think, from last season. I think that will give him confidence.
Yeah, definitely confidence, but maybe a few areas of concern in this particular game, because they did give Villarreal some chances.
Do you know what?
Even half chances, but they did give them.
I thought it was out of sight a little bit, the game at this time. Obviously, if they get one back, it changes it. But again, you ain't beating him. You've got to beat it. It's got to be something special.
Yeah, definitely.
And he's too big.
Oh, yeah. And he said this is the Champions League. Teams are going to have shots on your goal, and if your keeper just makes saves like that look relatively...
But again, you ain't beating him. You've got to beat it. It's got to be something special.
Yeah, definitely. And
he's too big.
Oh, yeah. And he said this is the Champions League. Teams are going to have shots on your goal, and if your keeper just makes saves like that look relatively comfortable, it just gives you confidence. And Owen said you have to beat him, and these are not real chances, the half chance. The header, should he hit the target? Yes, but this, should he score? I don't think he should score there.
He'll be giggling to himself at that shoot from there, won't he? He'll be thinking, yeah, good lad.
And similar to Haaland, when he gets a chance, Donnarumma will be thinking, go on, have a shot.
Yeah.
I'm confident enough in my ability to make a save.
Well, look, Pep is a serial winner. Last season was, a hiatus for Manchester City. No trophies for the first time in a long time. I can't remember what the stat is. But how close do you think they are this season? I know it's early days, but even just seeing, I know Joleon's laughing, but sort of how they've started to play so far, and if everyone can stay fit, and if you have Haaland, and then you get Rodri back, and then you've got Donnarumma, how strong can they be in this competition? How strong can they be in the Premier League? Where do you see their level?
Right at the top. If all them things happen, and Haaland still continues to score at the rate he's scoring, everyone's fit, then they'll be right there to the very end. But that's not realistic. There's going to be ebbs and flows, and people are going to drop out of form, get injured, whatever that may be. So there's so much games to play, so much football, and like we said last season, the favourites weren't even in the recognition for this competition last year. PSG was out of the playoffs for a spell. So
if they're fit and healthy, they're one of the best in every competition. Yeah. But they have to be fit and healthy. But I think the spine of it looks different, and I think Pep will back his team against anybody in a game.